Hi, Orly.
How's it going?
Hey, it's so great to see you.
Great to see you. You look fantastic.
You look fantastic. Are you kidding me? We've been wanting to make this for so long, so I'm so
Yep.
glad we have time.
I'm so excited. I really am. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so why don't we start by telling everybody who you are
Sure.
and a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, my name is Orly Wahba. I'm 37 years old. I live my whole life in Brooklyn, and I'm actually in the midst of a big move. I'm going to be moving to Jerusalem full time. Been living there for the past year and a half. And yeah.
That's amazing. What prompted the whole going to Jerusalem?
Oh my goodness. Okay, actually, it happened right around the time I decided to do egg freezing. Actually, I was supposed to do egg freezing. I was supposed to go to Jerusalem on the day that I started
Wow.
my procedure. And I said, I think that doing this is much more important. And I ended up changing my entire
Plans.
schedule and ended up pushing off Jerusalem for another month. But really, it sort of stemmed from knowing that I wanted to make a bit of a change in my life. I love the country very much. I, was there every single summer growing up. My dad is from Israel, and I just felt something pulling me there on many different levels. On the personal level, just felt like that if things were not working for me here, perhaps there's something that's going to be able to work for me there. And like I said, I also just love the city. And it was supposed to just be an adventure. It was taking a year of an adventure. And that year, like right when I got there, within the first 24 hours, I realized this is more than just an adventure. And I decided to make the final move now. After a year and a half, almost 2 years, it's going to be.
Wow.
And I'll be back in the next couple weeks.
Wow, I can't believe that so much time has passed because, like, literally the whole debate about egg freezing and our talks about that topic were really manifesting. And then Jerusalem also got thrown in the mix. And I remember you were like, I'm going to do both. And I was like, this is amazing.
And the truth is, it's connected to the same thing. It was about wanting to do something for myself that I felt like was very important for me, and taking the time to really focus on myself, because generally I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you've been
focus on everything else, but it was taking these really big leaps all within the same time period. And I wanted that year, like I made like a resolution to myself that I want this year to be different. I want to be able to focus on what I feel like is important to me. And I'm so happy I did it. It shifted my whole entire life, to be honest.
So let's unpack that. Tell me a little bit about your debate and hesitation or thought process on egg freezing and what eventually made you want to do it and how you came to these conclusions.
Okay, so first of all, you were a huge factor in the fact that I even knew what this was. I'd never heard about egg freezing before. I know this sounds crazy, but I didn't. About it, I didn't even know it was an option. It just never crossed my mind to even almost do that. And you were so open about your experience and your journey, and it really made me start thinking about it. And I think it came because you had sent me information about a specific clinic, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, maybe.
And I basically made an appointment for a consultation. This was months before I was even thinking of doing it. It was at some point, you had sent me something, and I'm like, you know what? I think I want to look into this. And I sent them, I made an appointment with them. Finally, the date of the appointment came. I didn't even know that I had the appointment. I had forgotten about it. And you make an appointment so long in advance that you completely forget. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at my phone, and I see that something pops onto my phone that I have an appointment the following day at Extend Fertility. I'm like, what? What is this? When did I even do this? I don't even remember making the appointment, the consultation.
You were really busy at the time, though. I will say your charity had taken up so much of your time. You were distracted on many different levels.
I was on a cross-country tour with my book. So really, just things were so crazy. I wasn't even almost contemplating this.
Yeah.
And, for me, my story with this really begins long before that. I've always been, I couldn't wait to be a mom. I really just, that is something very, very important to me.
I remember we were sitting in a New York cafe and we were talking about this one time. Yeah. When I met you, so I found you online because of your kindness boomerang video was so impactful to me that I was like, I have to meet the woman behind this. Like, I just have to. And I was in New York for work, and I tracked you down, and you like graciously said, oh, hey, I'm going to be going to the YouTube studio. Do you want to come along? And I tagged along with you. It was amazing.
That was a fun video. Oh my
goodness. Such a fun day.
So fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where this all began. And then through your kindness, you know, it allowed me to share a little bit about what I was doing, and it matched. That's just really where it was at. And our friendship blossomed.
And you allowed me to start thinking about what the options were, because I want to have kids. I can't wait to have kids. And generally, the way that I always thought about that is in the very, you know, just the typical way that it happens, you know?
Timeline, yeah.
I just figured, okay, you know, you get to a certain age, you find your husband, you get married, you have kids, it's all good. And things didn't necessarily progress for me in that specific way. And there's a lot of pressure on me, a lot of pressure by my family, by my community, by myself, honest truth. I mean, it's something that I want, and people sort of telling you, you know, well, you're getting older, or people having conversations around you that sometimes they don't recognize that you're there. Sometimes, like you know, and I'm not going to point fingers or blame anybody, but I would be sitting amongst, you know, my family members or my sisters or sister-in-laws or whatever it is, and people are like, oh yeah, she's thinking about having a baby, and she's already 39. She's already old. She's already old. And I'm sitting in the room, and I'm like, do they recognize that I'm in the room? You know, do they have any idea? And I know that they're not doing it in a callous way, but I started believing that, oh my goodness, is my opportunity, is my time to be able to have kids, is it over? Because even though I might be 37, in my mind, I don't feel like I'm 37.
Right,
I still feel much younger. But then hearing those things made me start feeling
anxiety.
That the possibilities were coming to, you know, coming to a close, coming to an end. And having that added pressure to have to, you know, find that person actually did the opposite. It really made it just was not fun. And it wasn't because I didn't want it to happen. It just became not fun. And I realized that I needed to get that pressure off of me. This pressure of your time is ending. It's ticking down, and you're not going to be able to have this. And hearing you share your story and share your experiences and share all the resources started making me think, well, this isn't so far-fetched. In the beginning, I was like, no way, I can't imagine myself doing that. Oh my God, it's something to do with injections. There's needles. I'm so scared of needles. I was like that little kid that would run into the doctor's office and lock the door. How can I possibly do this?
Right.
You know, what does it mean? Does it mean that I'm giving up if I do this?
Right. Does it mean that you're playing God because now you have science involved? Yeah. Those are really real fears.
100%. All these thoughts, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if it was going to change my body. I didn't know if it was going to change my mood. I didn't know if it was going to, you know, I had no idea. And when that consultation time came, and I'm so happy that I made that appointment, I went with a friend of mine. I didn't even tell my parents. I went with a friend of mine. I'm like, I need you to come to be there to support me. I'm just going in for this consultation. And started asking them, you know, real questions and getting to understand, okay, well, what does this really mean? And just learning about what it means. You know, the more you learn about what it means and you ask the questions that you're maybe afraid to ask, the more calm came over me.
Right, because you break it down and it doesn't feel like this huge, massive bear that's attacking you. You can kind of break it into pieces and realize, okay, first I do this, then I do that, then this happens.
Exactly. So that made me feel really good about it. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to do it within this year. I was planning to move to Jerusalem. I had a flight booked for February 6th. My flight was February 6th. And I said, okay, I knew I was coming back for a month. My sister was getting married a couple months after that. So I figured, great, I'll come back and then I'll do it then right around the wedding time. You know, I'll figure it out. I was trying to maybe push it off just a little bit to procrastinate it. And on February 1st, I woke up, I had gotten my period that morning, and you have to get your period. It has to be the first day of your period. And I said, what am I doing? What could be more important than being able to secure my future? The thing that I know is going to make me the most happy in the world. Yeah. Why am I pushing this off? And so I made a phone call to the clinic. I told them I'm starting. I called, I pushed off my plane ticket. I canceled my ticket to a later date. And I said, I'm taking this month right now. I'm taking this month for me, to focus on me, to focus on the future of Orly. And the future of Orly is Orly's kids. And I have to tell you, it was the most incredible experience. I decided to take off for 2 weeks fully of work.
Time.
I put in my message, which is a huge, big deal for me. I don't usually do that.
Right.
But I put my away message on. I said, I'm really going to focus these weeks on me and just allow myself to be relaxed. The first evening of doing the injections was the scariest thing of my life. I was so scared. First of all, it was a Friday evening, and yep. I'm Jewish, and we eat by my family's house. It was Shabbat, so everybody was by my brother's house, and I had to leave to be able to start to do this injection at this time. Yeah. And I'm there, and I have to I was so scared. It took me 1 hour, I think, of prep time until I actually did the injection. Just because so super, type A, like it has to be right. Oh, there's a bubble. I have to take out the bubble. What do I do? I was so nervous, and I finally did it. And each night it would be like my prep time. That it went down to less. It wasn't an hour each night after that, but I recorded my experiences throughout those weeks. I started leaving voice notes for myself, going to the doctor, because every other day I had to go to the doctor for a checkup. And I would basically leave these voice notes to my future self, to my future kids. Like I was really being in the feeling of like I'm doing something really positive. I wasn't giving up. It wasn't like, oh my goodness, how come I have to do this? It's unfair. It felt really positive. And as the days were going on, the pressure that I felt that sort of lifted. And and I knew that it was going to open me up to be ready for whatever was next. I wasn't going to jump into something just because of this pressure from unseen people, or whatever, like just
the world.
Pressure. It was able to just happen. Things are able to happen then more naturally. And I till this day, it's definitely probably one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself.
Wow.
And during the time of those 2 weeks, I was a bit sleepy, but I was allowing myself to because I was off of work. Yep. So I would, be very chilled, waking up whenever I wanted to, heading to sleep whenever I needed to. My main thing was just going to the doctor. I was scared because like the internal exam was probably my thing I was most fearful of, because it was painful for me. It was I was very nervous of that. So that was like my worst part of the whole thing.
So the ultrasound appointments were tough because you were so bloated?
No, I'll tell you what it was. So every appointment, it would go in, we take the blood. Right. I got used to that. I was fine with that. But the internal ultrasound, that was something really uncomfortable for me. It was very painful for me.
So it kind of hurt your ovaries, and it felt painful.
It felt really painful. So I was just scared. So they had to use like a much thinner probe.
So you probably... you probably were tensing up and not relaxing and not allowing them to be able to see all the ovaries.
Exactly. Plus the fact that that I'm also a virgin, it was it was an unknown. You're basically dealing with something. I don't know what the hell they're doing down there, but it was just scary. Yeah. So I was scared, but that was probably the injections weren't bad at all. I didn't bruise at all. I didn't have pain at all from doing that. The scariest part for me was the ultrasound part, but still got through it, and the people at the clinic were really sweet, and they were very, like, they calmed me down, and I was a little nervous of what the end results were going to be. That was another thing. Your mind gets all messed up. Oh my goodness, do I have, and I eventually told them I don't want to know how many they're seeing.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to know.
So you kept a very tight tab on that. You just kind of just didn't know, and you just did your injections as told.
So I'll tell you what happened. Before I went in to do this, and they were just testing me, I was not comfortable with them doing the internal. So they're like, okay, maybe we can do it not as an internal, like you just have to drink a lot of water, and they can then test, they can see.
Yeah, because they press down the bladder.
Accurate. Yeah, they say it's not as accurate.
Yeah.
They did, and they said that, the numbers that they were telling me weren't so much. I was really nervous. And then the first time that I asked them when they did it, the numbers weren't so high. So then at that point, I said, you know what? I don't want to know, because I think that that's just going to mess with my brain.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever it is, however many there are.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to let that affect me. I'm just going to think positively. And so I was
Okay.
really in a very positive state of mind throughout that entire 2 weeks. It was just like, it was like I went on a staycation. That's what it was, which was so good for me. It was so good.
An eggcation.
I went on an eggcation. And the morning of the, then obviously the day before the procedure, you have your final
shot.
Trigger shot, exactly, the trigger shot. I was nervous about, I think I was most nervous about the anesthesia. Like, am I going to wake up in the middle?
Yeah. Oh no.
Those are like the weirdest things. I was
like
really
you're going to be awake
that.
as it's happening.
I get so, I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm that patient that's so scared. Any injection, any something, any this, any pain. Like I can't handle pain. I'm not.
Clearly you survived.
I listen, of course, and it was really great. I passed out like that, and they ended up getting, thankfully, they were able to retrieve a lot of eggs. When I first woke up, that was the only hard part for me. That was really the hardest part. It was that I was super nauseous.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense,
typical.
Maybe from anesthesia.
Yeah.
So that part was hard. I was like throwing up a little bit.
Oh no. Oh no. Did you drink or have fluids before, like out of the window that you weren't supposed to?
I don't think so. No. I was I was pretty strict with following all the directions that they gave.
Yeah.
But I guess it was just the way that my body reacted.
Okay.
But hearing that they got a lot of eggs made me happier. I was like, all right, so whatever. I'm nauseous. I'm going to throw up. So that was a hard part. And I had sensitivity. I had a lot of sensitivity I would say for the next week. I had some sensitivity, but I had planned everything very precise that I was going to have, a couple of weeks of just relaxing afterwards. Yep. And then I went on a yoga retreat after that, which was I gave myself, I really made it a specific time period for me. Now, not everybody does that. You go work and you do your thing, and you don't have to do that. You don't have to take off and do nothing else. It was just, I was really giving it was more of a...
It was your dedication to motherhood in some aspects. Like, it was your time.
That's honestly how I made it. I really wanted to make it that, because I know that if I was going to work, I'm a person that can get under a lot of stress with work, and I have a crazy workload, and I didn't want this process to come from that place. I wanted it to come from, I'm taking time for me, whatever. Yeah. And this was part of taking time for me.
So what was your initial thought when you woke up after you got through some of the nausea and they told you how many eggs successfully froze?
I didn't know what it was supposed to be. Like, I honestly didn't want to know. I know that they usually say what you get, maybe, I think it's that they said you get 10, usually 10 are used, then from 10 you can get
one live birth.
Exactly. So I was already contemplating, should I do this again? Before I knew the actual number. And then they told me that they had gotten, I'm trying to remember the exact number that they said they first got. I think it was something like 43. I don't know, something crazy.
Wow.
And then I think that they said that they froze, that in terms of like fully matured, they froze 29.
That's great. Orly, that's amazing.
I was like, wow, that's awesome. Okay, that's really good. That, equates to, let's say, 3.
Yeah.
And, so I was really happy about that, honestly.
Yeah. It took me 2 freezes to get to 29. So you did that all in one. And, there's something very powerful about the mind-body connection that I think we don't put enough emphasis on, because I, like you, on my 3rd freeze, my 3rd actual egg freezing cycle, I did something kind of similar to you, where I dialed back from work. I planned 6 months in advance. I took vitamins. I was really dosing up on the, fertility fruits and foods that were healthy for me. I made sure that I lowered my stress and anxiety and just sort of said, this is my time. And I had the most eggs in that cycle alone, that doubled from the 2 times I had done it previously, like in the midst of my stress. Now, obviously you have to have a good egg reserve or AMH, those type of things, to kind of be able to achieve those numbers in the first place. Like if you have early ovarian reserve loss, it's just, that's a detriment that is going to affect you, and it's bigger. The science is bigger than you, right? But if all signs are go and everything is as it should be, then that's really great. So I think it's achievable.
I was very, very happy about the results. And, because ideally I was saying to myself, listen, at the end of the day, I know that I'm meant to be a mother. I know that I have to be a mother because I could achieve all the greatest success in the world. Okay. I said to myself, if in years from now you achieved all of your biggest accomplishments in terms of the workplace, but I'm not a mother, am I going to be happy? And I realized that the answer would be no. But if in years from now I was a mother, but I didn't necessarily achieve all of my work goals, I would still be happy. Mm-hmm. So I realized to myself that this is really important. And if I am considering, with whatever that means, whether it's doing this on my own or whether it's hopefully finding that right person wherever he may be, and knowing that I don't have to have that fear. Yeah. Because fear is a killer. Yeah, it is. Fear is, it really stops everything.
It does.
And
it makes you stop in your tracks. It's like panic. It's like deer in headlights.
It definitely affects you. So I said, I'm making that decision for I have to take that step. And this was that step. And I really encourage, whether a person is, older or not older, I feel like this is a smart thing for people to do. I think that it's important. I think that if you look at the experience in the right way, it's such a great experience. Like, it's a good experience.
Yeah, it's a great thing you can do for yourself.
And you're basically investing in you.
Yeah. And you're saving so much money. You're saving so much money from down the road. Like, if you had to do fertility treatments at 40 with your future partner, let's say, that would be so much more of an expensive and emotional toll on you to get the same results you've gotten now by just freezing now.
Yeah. Exactly, 100%. So I think it's such a smart thing for people to do. And I know that there could be like stigmas around it, but I just think it's about people learning a bit more, just like I did. And, I have friends that started doing it, or there's friends of mine that I'm still talking to about, why not? It doesn't mean you don't have to be a certain age, or it doesn't mean something if you do this. It's basically making an investment, just like any investment. If you saw a really good investment, obviously you would take the money out of the bank and invest it in that specific thing. Well, this is the biggest investment that you can possibly make. It's the best investment. And, there's no reason not to.
So do you feel like you've been very open about this entire process to others, or is it something that you share later, or even like in dating? How has that affected dating?
Well, no, I was very open about it in the very beginning. When I first went to that consultation, even my family didn't know I was going. And then when I decided to do it, I told my parents first, and then I told my siblings and stuff like that. I wasn't ashamed of it at all. I actually had done an interview with a paper almost, I think it was right after I finished doing it. I don't have any, I'm not worried. I don't think that, I'm not worried, first of all, number one, about what people think. And plus, there's nothing negative for people to think here. Yeah. I think that sharing it is very important, because if I don't share it, then I'm robbing somebody of the opportunity to do this.
Or learn
it's like finding this really awesome, amazing secret, but you don't, that's super unbelievable, and you don't,
but you don't tell anyone.
You don't talk about that. So you're the only one taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? So that doesn't make sense. Dating wise, no, didn't affect me. I'm very open about it. I've told people about it. I've shared it with guy friends of mine. If they asked, I'm like, yeah, there's I don't know. I find there to be nothing negative about it whatsoever.
Yeah. Do you find that the male population that you're talking to, whether they be friends or someone you're dating, that they understand it, or do they get very nervous and intimidated or scared by what you're telling them?
I haven't met anybody that's been scared by it. I haven't. I'm not saying that there aren't people that are. I'm sure that there are. Of course there are. But in terms of my friends that I've told, I haven't found anybody that is scared by it, or feels like, oh, that's weird. If anything, I think it actually says, hey, I'm doing a responsible thing, because having kids is important to me. If anything, I would think that for a guy to hear that, it would put their stress levels down.
Right. Well, once they understand it.
If I'm dating a guy, let's say that's around my age or even younger, that would also put his worries at ease. You know, like to say, hey, wow, she did this really responsible thing, and now there's like no worries. So it sort of takes a worry off of
the pressure.
Actually dating somebody that you might think, oh, well, older, are they able to have kids now?
Right.
I don't know. I think there's only positive to it.
Yeah, I agree. So that's amazing. I love your story. I love how you're explaining this, because I think it's such a new take on maybe how other people have explained it. And I admire you so much. So to like hear that something I did impacted you is like really mind blowing, first off, but just that you have been such a champion and such a light for others. And so to say, hey, even with your like religious background or your convictions on other things that I know you're very passionate about, that this is like, you took it for the best reasons. Like, here's what it could afford me. And that was like, I don't know, you're gonna make me cry, because it just is it's so great. It's so great, because that's how it should be viewed, and that's how it should be, admired, and now you're impacting others and you don't even know it. Like even just within your friend group, that if you can do it, anyone can do it.
That's my main goal. I want to be able to inspire other girls to go out there and to do this and to not be scared, and to also not do it and feel like it's, how come I have to do this?
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of girls that feel that way, that are actually resentful that they have to do this.
Yeah.
So there are girls I've spoken to like that. If you're out there, don't feel resentful. This isn't a bad thing. It's a really good thing. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean that,
you couldn't conceive naturally, or that God doesn't have a plan.
Exactly. How come things didn't happen the conventional way or whatever? Everybody has their stories and everybody has their struggles. So maybe people that didn't have to do this. They just went through it in the conventional way.
Yeah.
But everybody struggles, and we don't know what those people's struggles are. So there's going to be struggles at every point in your life. Once you have kids, it's not like the struggles are over. There's going to be struggles around every corner. The question is, the fact of the matter is, though, is that there's something that can allow us to, there's this amazing technology that is there to ease those worries. Like, why wouldn't we take advantage of it? So there's nothing wrong with you. You're awesome. And I have to thank you, because, when you first started talking to me about this, you were the only person I knew speaking about this. I didn't hear about anything to do. Again, I'm not saying that there weren't others speaking about things, but I didn't hear about anything. I feel like it was very, very new. We're talking about fertility and talking about egg freezing and talking about all these things that are very taboo. People don't talk about, or
or more private.
Very private. And you were on this whole mission, and I was like, wow, that's so crazy. What is she doing? What's she up to?
Well, when we talked about it, it was really new. I mean, egg freezing really has only been around, approved for the FDA since 2012, the end of 2012. So
new.
We met, I think, in 2013 or 14. And so it's been, quite an evolution that egg freezing has taken up to this point, now being in 2020. And it's so crazy to even say that. I can't believe we're in 2020. But, today it's a lot more readily available. Vitrification is mainstream. All these key factors, like it's kind of, investors are looking at how we can advance startup companies in this genre, because the millennials are this next wave since the baby boomers of income and potential. And if we start thinking about our fertility on a progressive way and a preventative way, it changes all of medicine, really.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I couldn't agree more. So
the biological timeline. I mean, this is how we see celebrities that are 50 having kids. Now, they may not actually be using their own eggs. They may be using an egg donor. So we can be our own egg donor. That's what's amazing about egg freezing.
Exactly. And I think that the way that this gets around more is just friends talking to friends.
Yeah.
Because it started with you as a friend of mine talking to me about it.
Yeah.
And sort of sitting on my mind. And and being there, which we don't realize how the things that we hear affect us, but they do.
Yeah.
I know that it comes back down to what our first conversations, but share with your friends. So those that have done this, share. I think it's very important to share it with your friends because you can inspire them. And I had a few people already come and tell me that that me sharing with them that I've done this and like made them feel comfortable to go out and do it, or start thinking about doing it. And yeah, I just think it's so important and it's awesome. It's such a good experience. I had such a good experience.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think, you did everything that was in your power and you took charge and took that initiative. Without that initiative, it wouldn't have happened, So kudos to you for just taking that first step and not looking at this huge mountain you had to climb and taking it piece by piece. So
thank you so much.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad to call you my friend.
I love you. The best.
Yeah.
You really
no,
are.
it's
inspiring
amazing.
People. Just know it.
Well, it's amazing that, the internet has really done this. Like, we were strangers, but if you think about it, every friendship starts off as strangers until you get to know somebody. And you're just like one of those rock stars out there that I knew instantly we would be best friends. And so, of course, I would share all my secrets with you, of course. Like, why would I not? So, anyways, I'm all emotional for no reason. But I just love what you're doing. And thanks so much for being that, like, light and shining star that are helping others to impact, because kindness costs nothing. And, you say it all the time. Like, it takes no more energy to be kind than it does to be mean. And so why not be kind? Because everybody has some kind of battle they're fighting.
Everybody, every person, even the people that you think you know so well, has something that's going through.
Well, we're not our Instagram feed, right? Like, we're more than what's happening on Instagram.
That's for sure. That's super fake and a facade. But
it is.
People
highlight reel.
And people are emotional. We have emotions. We have ups and we have downs, and that's for sure. I can to that. That's for sure.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Orly, for your time, and thanks for being such a rock star.
Thank you. You're the best.